Today I got kinda raw comparison between softboxes. I just got them, so that would be quite raw, and actually the sound quality won't be that good. I'm so sorry. But what I got Aputure Light Dome 3, and I got Neewer SF-85Q. Of course, I paid with my own money, so those are mine products, and I can say whatever I want. And I just got them, so that would be kinda raw experience. I've seen some reviews and I've seen a promo video of the Neewer, and why I got two of them. First of all, lately I've been shooting some photo session outside, and I'm using small flash, and with this flash I used these reflective umbrellas, which are not bad, but you lose a lot of light output when you bounce off the umbrella because you don't have control of the light spill. So softbox is definitely better in that case. And also I need a softbox for my very small studio. It's just a 3 by 3 meters room, so 10 by 10 feet, so very small. And before I use this one, it is 60 by 60 centimeters, so 2 by 2 feet square softbox. So diameter is 82 actually, but the problem with this is that it does not wrap around my face. It's like one part of my face is really shadowy. I mean, I don't care, but some viewers are like, oh dude, you got bad lighting. So I said, why not get better one? So to get these two softboxes, actually I would get Light Dome 150 tomorrow. It's already sent, but the Light Dome is for something different. I got 120 centimeters octagon, but it's not very nice. And also those two are quick release. This one I'm recording with is kind of quick release. It's like an umbrella, but then you have to glue everything in like Velcro, the diffusers. There are two diffusers. You cannot collapse it with the diffusers, so it's a pain in the ass. And these two are supposed to be quick release, so in theory you can collapse them both with the diffusers and grids on. So if this is the case, they would be really nice, because when I'm shooting photos outside, the case is that we are shooting like 50 photos, then we move to another location. So we have to collapse the softbox and move to another location. With the umbrella, it is quite easy. You just collapse the umbrella, get the tripod, and you can move on. But with the big softbox like this 120, which is not quick release one, it's a pain in the ass. So that's why I got these two, and one might be for the studio. It depends. The Aputure list price is around 200 euros, so quite expensive. The other one, the list price is 130, but there was some promo on Amazon, so it was like 100 euros. Still quite expensive, but half the price of the Aputure. So I will see if Aputure is worth it. Maybe I will send it back and get the other Neewer. So got the one Neewer for the studio, one Neewer for shooting stills. We'll see. But it seems that maybe Aputure might be much faster, because it's just one motion to collapse it and to open it. So we'll see. So maybe I will start from the, I don't know which one. Maybe I will start from the Neewer. This one is supposed to be smaller, and probably judging from the bags, it is probably smaller, and I wonder if I can fit this through the door when it is opened. We'll see. So I don't know what's inside. I haven't opened it yet, so I'm not sure it is Amazon return or not, because the bags are open, although. So there is a grid. I think it's 40 or 45 degrees. There should be 2 layers of diffusion, and there is a softbox itself. The main question is how fast I can assemble it. Well, it's probably not that important. The more important thing is how fast I can collapse it, transport it to the different location, and then open it up in the next location. And this one is like, yeah, you have to pull from the sides. So it is closed with the Velcro, and the Velcro is attached. It's attached, so might be kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, this is there is a Velcro loop. To open this, I have to pull this, then on the opposite side, not sure, yeah, it opened. The rod seems to be like, oh, and now it's a square one. Where is the 3? They don't care, so I don't care either. There is another technique to open it. I've seen it on YouTube. And these two. Yeah, so it is opened quite flexible. Got some bend to it. It is kinda parabolic, although it's not even round, because 1 or even 2 weren't opened correctly. 3, so it's not that easy to open, but now it should be kinda round. So now there are 2 layers of diffusion. So it is a plus and a minus, because with the LED lights, if you got 2 layers and this layer is like denser in the middle, so that should be okay for the LED light. So maybe that would be the studio one, because LED lights tend to have a spot in the middle, so it is sometimes annoying when the softbox got just 1 layer of diffusion like Aputure have. Aputure actually got 2 layers of diffusion in the box, but you should mount one at the time, because one is 1.1 or 1.5 stops, the other one is 2 or 2.5, something like that. And here you got 2, so the thing is you're losing a bit of the light output, but it shouldn't be very problematic, because I got Aputure 300C. In the studio I'm using it between 2 and 8, maybe sometimes at 14% when I shoot at f4, so I got plenty of headroom, so I'm not speeding, and it seems to be kinda round. So let's see. I will attach the diffusion in the middle of the Velcro, because then there is also room for the grid. It's noisy and annoying, but it doesn't look bad. Actually, it looks nice, but there is some dirt on it. Fortunately, it was just a dust, so it's not permanently dirty, but anyway, it is like this. So in theory it got 85 centimeters diameter, and you can see it is barely bigger, or actually the same size as the diameter of this square one. So probably the biggest diameter is 85, but actually the diffusion is smaller, but that should be okay. I tried this 121 in my studio and it was too big. I mean, the light was really nice, but it was too big to mount on the wall. I got a really small room with really small, and already one of them collapsed. Probably I pressed by accident, so not the best thing, and probably it won't be very nice to use in the terrain. So I guess this one might be the studio one. I would probably check if I can collapse it with the grid. If don't, then the grid is kind of thick, so I guess I should attach the diffusion lower. And as always, there is some slack, so it's like bigger than it should be, but I can like bend it here, and it's not sticking everywhere, but it is like that with the grid. So you can see it's probably less than 45 degrees or 45 degrees, because when you see that white disappears, it is something between 40 and 50. Anyway, so I will try to collapse it without pinching my fingers and see. So I have to press 16 buttons. They say I have probably pressed them on each side. I can see it's collapsing. It pushes a lot of air on me through the mount. It is collapsed. The diffusion is kinda means inside, and the grid went up. Maybe I can push it inside. More or less. I'm not sure I can put it in the box. I will check. Probably wouldn't push it into the box, but it's not bad actually. Okay, I can. So this Velcro thing is not a bad idea. It could be squished to that side, so probably I can put it back to the bag. I'm not sure it would be healthy for it in terms of the diffusion being squished and the grid being squished. But if I squish it, I can push it here. I've seen some reviews and you cannot squish the Aputure with the grid and the diffusion into the back, but this one also sticks out. So I could probably squish it, but I wouldn't try it. I guess when we are outside we can travel between the points without the bag. So far this one is quite okay, although it was not very fast to open it and close it. I can maybe try to open it with the... I've seen that also there is a way to open it like that you open from one side and go around. I'm not sure it's a good idea. I've seen that people are bending it, something like that. Some of them are not latching the first try. So I think that the mechanism was in the DOM 2, but it was not that slow, and the grid is still there. This loop is here, so I say it's not bad, and also it got these plasticky points, so you can easily and safely put it on the ground and it will stay and won't squish the grid, which is a really nice thing. Although I wouldn't put it on the grass and stuff like that, because you can get the grid and the diffusion dirty. So I will put it back and let's see the Aputure. So the newer one is quite okay. Okay, so we got two strange bugs, probably diffusions. I can't see the grid, so maybe diffusions are in one of them. And this one got different mechanism, so you have to push this thing and it should be much pressed down on the ground and pull lever to release. Okay, so I've seen that people are doing it in the air, so they are just squeezing like that. It's quite hard to do. I guess once I figured it out, pull to release, so I guess you unlock it on the ground, but lock it in the air. Let's see. Maybe I'm not strong enough to use it, or not smart enough. I'm kind of afraid I'm gonna bend the rods. It's not that easy. Okay, you we are getting there. So you definitely have to use both hands. Not that hard. And now I have to close this, which is kinda annoying as always. Okay, this is closed. I got plenty of softboxes, and this velcros never close correctly. Like, probably I have to go from the other side to close them. And it seems there is an additional level of diffusion. So but this velcro part is really annoying. I don't know. Really annoying part. It's really hard to close. Maybe if I bend it, I don't know. It's always the case with this. Okay, maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe that should be below the mount. Okay, so not sure I would be able to collapse it and then open it easily. It is close to the degree. This one is not. Quite annoying. Let's see what's here. Okay, here is the grid. And my mic sucked. And what is here? So I haven't seen in the reviews that there is additional layer of the diffusion. Strange. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is for filter holder, but also the other reviews says that there is no filter holder in this version, so I don't know. I'm not sure there is a manual for it. I think the manual is online. So there's the big diffusion. There should be two densities. I guess this is this lighter diffusion, and this is the harder diffusion. So there is no other diffusion, so only external one. So that's a bit different. And the difference is that this is more round, because it got different design. So each rod attaches in two places, opposite to the one place in the newer one. So this is more round. So that's the pro, because the rounder the softbox, the rounder the catch eye, or whatever you call it, the eye catch, the catch eye, the specular right in the eye. And there is a lot of slack in the diffusion, actually. That's weird. Still there is some slack. Maybe I should tighten this. Maybe there won't be much slack. There is some slack here, so I have to make a small loop anyway. That probably can be fixed. So okay, so no additional diffusion, which might be looking spotty. Anyway, the velcro is strange, quite small. Anyway, I guess there would be a slack in the egg crate or grid, however you call it. So the initial speed of attaching everything is not very crucial. The crucial part is how fast you can collapse it and how fast you can fold it, or okay, not much slack in the grid. It's not attached correctly in some places, but it could be fixed later. So it looks like that when I think this grid is probably the same angle, more or less. There are informations in the manual. So this one is supposed to be 89 millimeters, so it should be bigger than the square one. Not much. Probably 89 is the diameter of these triangles, because I put it like that. Yeah, maybe it's a bit bigger than the other one, a bit bigger than this one. Let's compare with the Neewer. Yeah, Neewer is a bit smaller. The area is a bit smaller. The biggest place is like 10 centimeters bigger, so it is more or less even on the bottom, and now there is that much. This one is that much bigger, maybe here. Yeah, you can see it. So now it moved, but it's more or less even on the bottom, and here is like maybe up to 10 centimeters. It is supposed to be 85. This is supposed to be 89, but let me get the measure. Let me get the measuring tape, and this one is 80, I'd say 80. Maybe it's not uneven, so around 81 centimeters in diameter, the Neewer one. So same as diagonal of the square one, but the area is definitely bigger than the square one because it's a circle. And let me check this one. This one is 86. 86, something like 8, yes, 86. So 4 centimeters bigger diameter, but the area is even bigger than the other one. And I wonder about this diagonal one. So this octa I got is 118 centimeters diagonally, and when measured from side to side, it's just 1 meter and 8, so not much bigger. So actually this boat could be quite nice. So far both are okay, but let's see how to collapse this one. So it says put it on the ground and press the lever. I'm kind of afraid, but let's see. Where's the lever? Put it on the ground, but put it on the ground which side? Maybe this side. And the minus of this one, that there are no sticking rods, so if you put it like that, then you are squishing pull to release. Okay, so definitely faster. The one con so far is just one layer of diffusion, but let me see. But if you squeeze it like that, I guess I have to put a Velcro around it. So the other one got a plus that got Velcro attached, so that's the plus. But this was much faster to collapse, although as you can see, the grid is sticking out. So I mean, you have to be quite aware where you put it to not get the grid dirty or to tear it or to duck it. Okay, let's see if I can unfold it. So how I did it before. Okay, I've done it something like that. Okay, so you have to use both hands, push it, and it's not that bad, although you have to put some substantial strength to it. then you have to close this again, which is quite annoying. But it was definitely faster than the Neewer. So maybe once again I have to open this, do it like that, and it opens. So this is much faster than the Neewer. I will try to collapse the Neewer again. So I bought also the transportation cart for my photo gear. So probably doesn't matter how much they fold. I mean, I have to collapse them, but that cart would be probably quite big. We'll see. So let's see how to fold this one. So I should press these buttons. So you have to press these buttons. There are 16 of them, so you can press 2 at the same time. You have to, it's better to switch to left. So definitely this one is slower, but it is smaller when collapsed, and you got the Velcro. So although this Velcro doesn't seem to be okay, so this collapses to this side, this size. So I'd say it is quite nice, although it is slower to collapse, but you got much smaller package. Although I will check my Velcro. Okay, so I got a Velcro. Okay, so it is not bad, although the grid is sticking out. I'm not sure I would be using the grid. So you can see the whole grid is out when you collapse it like that with the Velcro. So I'd say the Neewer wins in that regard. It is slower to collapse, but it collapses to the smaller size. So now I will show you how the studio setup looks like, but I have to move the Amaran 300C, and I already recorded some videos with this one, but I will try to shoot it at the same angle with and without the grid, and for both other, and we will see how they compare. So I'll see you in a minute, and let's check the studio. So that is really bad quality shot of the studio. So I got a Varipole here. On the Varipole I got Manfrotto magic clamp, or however it's called, and then there is an extension dedicated for the clamp. It's really nice. I got 4 of them, because like I got one here, I got one here for the second angle. Where is it? It's here. I also got one on my other tripod. There is a lot of shit on the floor. I'm really sorry, but the light is mounted here, and it's pushed almost as close as possible to the wall. So it is like 15 centimeters from the wall, and this is the best pro of having the auto poles. These are gravity ones. They are like half the price of the Manfrotto poles, and I think they work the same. So I will put the link in the description down below, because if you got small studio, then it is really good. So I will now attach the Amaran here with my usual softbox. I will show you how the setup looks like, and then I will record few short clips to compare the setups. Okay, so this is how this setup looks like with the softbox attached, and this one is this square 60 by 60, so 2 by 2 with a grid, and I got my camera mounted also using the Manfrotto super clamp and extension arm. So I guess this is the really nice thing to have, because you can mount it on any column, either if the column is square or round. So really nice thing. So I got a camera here, and I will just record few sample clips with this modifier, and then I will switch to other two and see which one is the best. Maybe I have to experiment with the angle. Maybe I have to experiment with the actually this extension arm angle and the light angle. And as you can see, there is a like 5 centimeters gap between the monitor and the softbox, but the other two should be like forward. So I'm not sure. Maybe I have to move the monitor stand to be able to fit them, or maybe I have to move the pole actually a bit to the side to make it happen. We'll see, but now I will try to record a few clips with this one and see how it looks like. So this is my usual setup. It is A7 IV, and this light is to that side, as you can see. And there is kind of ugly shadow on the side of my face. Actually, the face is not lit at all on this side. Sure, maybe I should have a headlight or fill light on the other side, but there is no room in this room. So it's like 3 meters by 3 meters, so really small. I don't have any floor space, so maybe I could have a bounce. We'll see. We'll see if actually any of these modifiers make a change. The 120 made a change. It was wrapped around my face, so it was much better than this one. And I got this one with a grid to prevent the spill on the back or the background. It works to a degree. We'll see if any one of the other two is better. And actually I got together with them the accent bulb for the lamp. I cannot get Philips ultra definition in Poland, and it seems they are not available in Europe. They actually got CRI of 95 and they are flicker free. Not sure this one is flicker free. It says it's really good for your eyes, so maybe it's a flicker free. I will see in the footage if this one is flicker free or not. So another thing I'm testing today. But this is my usual setup with this light, and as you can see, like there is some light on this side of my face, but it is questionable. It's not a big problem for me, but some people got problem with it and say that my lighting is bad. And since this channel is about gear, so maybe I should have a better lighting. But the main reason why I got those two other modifiers is actually the photography part. So if any of them works here, that would be additional benefit. So I will remove the grid and see how it looks like without the grid. So this is with the grid removed. There is probably more spill. I'm not sure it moved or not. Probably not. So I guess there is more spill on the background. The background seems to be much brighter than before. And this light is running actually at 8% power. My lens is at f2.8. It is C-Log 3, so the base ISO is 800, and it is 1.7 EV overexposed. So what I like about this setup is that this light is totally silent. It never turns on, and up to 15% it never turns on. Maybe 14%, it's hard to say, but never turn on 12. It turned on after 20 minutes on 15%. So, but the annoying part about this setup is that to deattach the modifier, I have to use the ladder because it's so high and it's so out of reach that's why I want the permanent solution. So permanent modifier there, do not touch it. And since this one seems to be too small, I'm trying the other two. I hope that Neewer would be great fit here, and that way I would have Neewer here and the Aputure for the photography trips, because it seems it's much faster to collapse and open. So let's see. Now I will try Neewer. I have to bring the ladder, deattach this one, attach the Neewer, and compare the footage with this one, and we'll see which one is the best actually. Okay, so now Neewer is attached. As you can see, it covers a bit of my monitor, so it is annoying at the moment, I mean, I have to somehow adjust it, but there is still some room between the wall and the modifier, so I can move it to the side. I can change the angle of the extension arm and the light, so probably I would be able to squeeze it, or I have to move the monitor stand to the side, and that way I would be able to have this one here. And this, as you can see, this grid is kind of saggy, so it's sagging to the front and to the sides a bit, so not the best grid in the world, but probably I can fix it. And it was quite hard to attach it to the light. I'm doing that from the ladder, but I've done it without cursing, so maybe not that hard, but it looks like that. And let's see how the lighting looks like, if it is any better or not. I probably won't be able to tell judging from the screen, but I would probably check later in DaVinci how they compare and which one is better. So let's try. So this is how it looks like with the grid. So this is the Neewer SF-85Q with the grid, and I have to bump the light to 14% because there are two layers of diffusion, and the inside or the internal layer is really thick in the middle to spread the LED light, which is quite good for the LED. It might not be that good for the flash, because flash head usually shoots to all directions, or to most directions around. It depends on the head, but the small flash maybe shoots mostly forward, but the bigger flashes I got and the AD200 with the bulb shoots to all sides. So this dense diffusion in the middle probably is not the best idea for the flash, but for spotlight like this, most of the LED lights got really hard spot in the middle. This is really good idea. So I'd say this one would be here, although maybe actually Aputure would be better fitted here. So let's see. So this is how it looks like with the grid attached, and I'm not sure. I think it wraps around my face a bit better, but still with the grid attached, it's hard to say. I guess I would use it without the grid, but definitely the background is darker without the grid, so it is a plus for the accent lights that they can have their own color, because if this is spilled to the background, then they lose the color. So not the best case. So this how it looks like with a grid Neewer SF-85Q. So I'm not sure it's visible. There is a darker spot inside and it's a brighter outside. Yeah, I think it's visible. So it was not visible with the grid, now it's visible. So this internal diffusion, I think, is attached with in 4 points, so there is some slack inside. I have to check it is 4 points or more. Yeah, it is 4 points, so it is not as great as I thought. It's not as even, so definitely the square one was much even, but there is no like big spot in the middle, so it's not that bad. Although as you can see, there is more light outside, although that might be actually good. I will see how that looks on the screen. So again, this is the Neewer SF-80Q without the grid, and the Amaran is at 4%. Maybe it should be at 5. So we try to match the exposure in post, but I think it's hard to say on this small screen it's better or not, but should be better. Although maybe it should be moved a bit to the side, so maybe I have to move my monitors to the right, and then, or I can push it farther away. Still there is some room behind the Amaran, so I got some room to maneuver. At the moment it covers like 1/8 of my top screen, so it's no go in that position, but this is how the Neewer looks like without the grid, and it is at 5% now. So I think there is more spill on the background, but it's not terrible, I guess. I'm not sure my face is lit better or not. Hard to say on this small screen I'm looking at. That's why probably I'm not looking to the lens. But this is the Neewer, and now I'll have to detach it from the ladder and then attach the Aputure DOM, Aputure Light DOM 3 and see. DOM 3 is bigger, so and additional information. I've been able to squeeze this through the door sideways. It is not big enough to not fit through the standard European door, which is 90 centimeters. So that's the plus of this one. I can go through the doors with it. I hope this looks better than my square one. I guess the catch light is round now. It is quite round, although the Aputure one seems to be rounder. So see you in a bit. I'm going to switch to Aputure Light DOM 3. So as you can see, the Aputure Light DOM 3 sticks more to the side, so it covers like 1/3 of my monitor. It is bigger, but I still got some playroom here, so I can push it to the side, although it sticks out really far away. So I guess that the other one fits this space better, although I would probably have to move the monitors anyway. So we'll see if this gives much better light. Then maybe I will keep the Aputure Light DOM here, although I think that maybe I would have the DOM for the photos, since it does not have internal diffusion, and the other one for the studio here, but we'll see. And let's see how it looks like when it's turned on. So now it is Aputure and it is actually in the frame, unfortunately, but I will shoot this at the same angle as the other two. I think there is more wrap around my face, so this part is lit better. Maybe I still need the fill light. I don't know, maybe some bounce. I will see. But this is the Aputure Light DOM 3 with a grid, and it seems the angle is a bit different. Maybe because the monitor is pushing it to the side, to the left. So maybe that would be better. But I have to definitely move my monitors if this is installed here, and it takes a lot of estate. So I'm kind of hesitant to have it here. So this is the Aputure Light DOM with the grid, and I've been able to push it through the door. It was tight fit, but it went through 90 centimeters door. So not a problem, went sideways, of course. And this is how it looks like. And it is at 13% power. So with the grid, 1% less than with the Neewer, but I have to see what is actual exposure in DaVinci, because then since the camera reacts to the exposure change, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's even 5% to change the exposure by 1/3 of EV. So it is not a way to measure it based on what the camera shows. So I have to see in DaVinci the parades how it looks like. But I guess it looks okay. I think it's a bit softer, but maybe it's just what I think. And there is one layer of diffusion, but this is the denser one, I think. So it is 2 or 2.5 stops. I have to check in the specs. So let's remove the grid, and actually this grid is quite even. There is no slack, so in that regard that is better, although there is a slack in the diffusion. So there is no much slack in the diffusion there, I think, but there is a lot of slack in the grid. So anyway, this is really even grid, much more even than the other one. But and the collapsing and opening, especially opening, is quite annoying. Like you have to use a lot of force. So I'm not that weak as I look, but I'm surprised that you need that much force. And when I've been opening this to attach it here, it was quite annoying, I have to say. It was quite hard to open. So it was like fourth time I tried it today, so maybe my hands are already tired, but yeah, that was tough. But let's see how it looks like without the grid, and then I will check it in DaVinci and see how it looks like, how they compare, and if it's even worth it to have one of the round ones. Maybe I will send them back. Maybe I will have one for photography and just still use this square one because it's smaller and fits the place better. We'll see. But at the moment, I think that Aputure would be for photos outside, and the Neewer I would probably be able to squeeze it here. But let's see how it looks like without the grid. Okay, so this is how the Aputure one looks like. When I'm looking at the diffuser, I don't see much. I don't see like a darker spots, but maybe there is a darker spot in the middle, but there is also brighter spot in the middle. Then there is a darker circle, and then there is a brighter circle, but I think it's more unified than on the Neewer one. Of course, I'm showing that, but the DJI decided to move for some reason, so probably you can see the spot in the middle, which is brighter than the darker medium circle, and then there is a brighter circle outside. But when I look at it with my own eyes, it's not that visible as on the DJI. So this is how it looks like, and so this is how it looks like without the grid. It is Aputure Light Dome 3, and I have to dial the power of the light to 5%, so more or less the same as with Neewer, to have the S-log overexposed to 1.7 EVs as it should be. Probably I look okay on the screen. It's hard to say it's better than the square one, or it's better than the Neewer one, but it's in the frame definitely, so it's really big, but it is definitely rounder, so it is really round. That's the plus of this one, and it's bigger, and it seems that it's more unified in terms of the diffusion. So there are some lighter and there are some brighter and darker spots on the diffusion, like these circles I shown before, but I guess it's more unified than the Neewer one. And then, so now I have to see the footage and check the difference, check if it is any better than the Neewer. And what I've seen so far, I guess the Neewer would be here. This would be for photos, although it's really hard to open. So if I have to open 5 times during the session, I would be probably really tired. So not sure it's a good idea. Definitely Neewer opens slower, but it's definitely much easier to open. Although, as you could see before, when I open it and collapse the Neewer few times, the internal diffusion detached. So there are some cons and pros of each of the solutions, but now I have to compare the footage and think which one is better in which scenario. Then tomorrow I will probably test both in the field while shooting some photos. We'll see if I'm able to, because if it's raining tomorrow, then we won't be shooting, at least outside. So maybe we will shoot something at home, some photos, and see how they compare. But I would rather want to compare them in the field to see what's the difference. And actually my model is going on holidays, my daughter, so tomorrow is the only chance. So I hope it won't be raining tomorrow or snowing heavily, so we can compare them. I think this one would be better in a field, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong because that opening is really hard. So maybe after 3 times I open it, I'll be really pissed. So let me compare the footage. I will see which one is the best in this scenario, and then tomorrow maybe I will check which of those two is better for photos. Maybe actually the umbrella is better than both of them. I would take the umbrella also to see which one is better. So as you can see, there is a difference in the contrast ratio. Especially you can see this in the background. So definitely Light Dome produces the most contrasty image. Then there is a Neewer. The difference is really subtle between them. And then the original one is quite washed out compared to the other two. So there is much more spill on the background, and I'd say both of these look much better than the original one in terms of the background and the contrast ratio. Regarding the face, I don't think there is much more wraparound on the circular ones. It's hard to say, although definitely the light on these two is much softer than on the original one. So that's for sure that's the benefit of having one of the biggest in the studio. And not sure you can see this, but actually the Neewer produces warmer skin tones on my face, which for my taste looks better, but it's not a problem to fix this in post or to set the different white balance. Everything was shot at 5500 Kelvin, so seems that the Neewer diffusion introduced some color cast. So if I want my skin to be warmer, I can change the white balance in the camera or in the light, and I can dial in my skin tones however I want, or I can do it in post. But the difference is quite subtle. So regarding the light spread, both of them seems to be quite similar, although it seems that Neewer got a bit darker internal circle than the light dome. I doubt there is much impact on the final image, but it seems that Neewer cuts a bit more light because it got double diffusion, and the internal diffusion got also really dense inner circle. So definitely Neewer cuts more light because it's a double diffusion and the internal one is much denser. But regarding the uniformity of the light, I'd say they are quite similar. So maybe this inner circle of the Neewer is a bit darker, but there is also dark circle on the Dome 3, and there is also this brighter center, which seems not to be present here because of this denser diffusion on the middle of the internal diffuser. But on the final image I cannot see much of a difference between the two, so the only difference is that the light dome is bigger, so it produces probably a bit softer light, and if you use them with the grid, probably there is not much difference, although the grid of the Neewer is a bit sloppier. That's why there is a bit more spill on the background. So after reviewing the footage, I'd say I like Light Dome 3 with the grid the most for the studio shot. It seems to be the most contrasty, probably because of the size of the grid. The difference between my old square softbox and both new ones is huge in terms of light spill. I guess it's because its grid is 6 by 6 centimeters and 3 centimeters deep, while Dome 3 grid is 4 by 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters deep. This is much better in cutting light, and the Neewer SF-Q grid is also 4 by 4 and 4 centimeters deep, but it's less stiff than the Aputure one, so it tends to sag. It is also oversized, so there is some slack. Guess that's the reason it allows a bit more spill. But the difference in the produced picture is very subtle, so if you want to save $100, get the Neewer. Dome 3 produces also a bit softer light, because its area is 13% bigger than the Neewer. I managed to squeeze it into the corner of my studio, but it's a rather really tight fit, and I had to move my desk with monitors 30 centimeters to the right to make it happen. All three softboxes without the grid got too much spill on the background, making the image quite washed out because it's less contrasty. Not sure there is a big difference regarding the wrap around my face, but definitely Neewer and Dome 3 got a visibly softer light look. Even though the diagonal of the square softbox is almost the same as Neewer diameter, the area of the round one is 43% bigger, since the circle has a bigger area than the square. For the dome, it's a whopping 61% more area. That's why it is much softer, and since it's longer than 2 by feet 1, the light surface is closer to my face, making it even softer. Not sure you can see, but Neewer actually produces a bit warmer light, so there is a slight orange tint to the light source, which actually looks better in my opinion in terms of the skin tones, Of course, you can regulate this by setting a different white balance, but at 5500 Kelvin, it produces warmer skin tones on my face than the other two. Dome diffusion is either 1 or 2 stops, light and full diffusion. I've seen some people attach both at the same time, not sure it's a valid idea. I will experiment with both diffusions later. At the moment I'm using the denser one. And the Neewer does not say what level of diffusion is their material, and also they got 2 diffusers, internal and external. Even though the dome got just 1 layer of diffusion, its light seems very evenly spread on it. I'm actually surprised. Neewer has this pronounced darker inner circle, but I'm not sure this impacts the final look that much. And regarding the folding mechanism, even though the aperture is faster to open, then you have to adjust the Velcro every time you set it up, which takes more time than setting up the Neewer. Also, setting the Neewer up does not require Hercules strength. I haven't tested Neewer with my strobes yet, but I hope it will be okay in terms of the dense inner diffusion. Worst case scenario, I can remove inner diffuser and use flashes without it. The dome is definitely easier to collapse and faster, just one pull of the lever, and also seems that the dome mechanism will be less prone to damage over time. But since the rods are sticking out on the Neewer, you can put it on the ground without the risk, or at least with smaller risk, of getting the diffusion dirty. Also, external Velcro strap on the Neewer is a neat idea for the field work when you have to collapse and set it up several times when you're changing locations. I have to test them both in the field to confirm it, but I've opened and collapsed them at least 5 times each during shooting this video, and I prefer Neewer mechanism for the ease of use. And I'd say the parabolic in the name of the Neewer is just a gimmick, it's just a buzzword, because when you use softbox with the diffusion, it seems that this really doesn't matter for the light if it is normal dome or parabolic. There are plenty of YouTube videos proving that. And please do not forget that Neewer is almost 2 times cheaper, so if you are on the budget, I will get the Neewer hands down. And affiliate links are in the description below. Hope it helps. Cheers, mate!